Hello everyone, Pierce Nation here. Welcome back to a new deck profile I have here on the channel. This is my Tri-brigade Scareclaws. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can. Just so I have plenty of time to upload the video and everything. So, first of all, we're going to start off by running 3 copies of Rykart. Let me try to see if I can space these together so I can get a minute on here. There you go. So what Rykart does is if you just normal special. So basically how these Scareclaw cards work is I'm going to go over their main effect. So the main effect is you can special summon this card from your hand to your main monster zone adjacent to a Scareclaw monster or in its column. So if it's in its column or beside a Scareclaw monster, you can special summon this card. You can only do it once per turn that way, and if this card is normal special summon, you can add 1 Scareclaw spell or trap from deck to hand. Then, if you control 3 or more defense position monsters on the field, you can draw 1 additional card. Run 3 copies of Scareclaw Tryhard or Rykart because he is very, very important for the deck. Next, run 3 copies of Scareclaw Balloon, another very important card. It has the same effect. The only difference is the other guys have continuous effects. So Balloon here, he inflicts to your guy in the extra monster zone. He inflicts piercing damage when attacking a defense position monster. So, run 3 copies of Balloon. This is a requirement that you have to run 3 of all the Scareclaw monsters because there's literally just 12. So you need them all. Next, run 3 copies of Astral. So, Astral, you can special summon this card from your hand. Same thing, like all the rest of them. His only difference is your Scareclaw monsters in the extra monster zone can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of defense position Scareclaw monsters you control with different names. So, got Astral there for that, and you run 3 of him. Like I said, it's not going to be that hard to explain this deck because literally most of the monsters do the exact same thing. And the last 3 Scareclaw monsters I actually have are Acro. And what Acro does is your Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone gains 300 attack for each defense position monster you control. If you happen to control 3 of these, it will stack and each will gain 900 for every defense position monster you control. So I think the highest you can get your main link monster to is about, I think it's 7,500 if I'm not mistaken. So got him there for that, and they all special summon. They're very quick. They don't really waste a whole lot of time. It's a very tough deck to deal with if you get it on a bad day. Next is 1 copy of Vessel Starfrost. As of right now, before this is it's before, so it's like pre Power of Elements. I only run 1 Vessel Starfrost. After, I'll probably run 2 of this because it'll be more acceptable to getting and being able to use their effects continuously because Scareclaws are about to get a little bit of a boost. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. So basically with Vessel Starfrost here, this card is in your hand. You can target 1 monster you control with a different type or attribute. Then this card destroy that monster, and if you do, special summon the card. Very easy. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make this card gain attack equal to half the original attack or defense of the monster, whichever is higher. It's your choice of tied, and it really doesn't matter. So this is Starfrost. He's actually not half bad. And then that's all the basic archetypal monsters I have. But for an extra boost, we do run 3 Rescue Cat. I didn't have these when I played the other day. I really wished I would have. So what this card does is you can send this card to the graveyard, special summon 2 level 3 or lower beast monsters from your deck, but they have their effects negated. Also, they're destroyed during end phase. You can only use each effect of Rescue Cat once per turn. Basically, you just use that to try to get into like a if you have 1 Scareclaw monster and you pull a Rescue Cat, you're going to be able to get a full board of Scareclaws, and then you can get into your ultimate Link monster, and this thing just speeds up the deck immensely. The only thing is if any of this would be like Solemn Judgmented or anything like that, you're pretty much dead because it's not going to be able to help you much more other than that. So Rescue Cat comes in handy quite a bit. So that in mind, I've been waiting on this card to come in. It literally just came in. It was the last card I had to actually make the deck profile, so I decided to do that today. So on to that, we're getting into the Tri-brigades now. So we're going to run 3 copies of Tri-brigade Fractal. Of course, we all know what Fractal does. You can send this card from the hand to the graveyard, and then you can send a bunch of other cards to the graveyard. Or this card is normal or special summon in any way, shape, or form, as long as it has its effects. Basically, what you can do is you can banish Beast, Beast Warrior, and or Wing Beast monsters from your graveyard, and link summon up to the number of Beast monsters that you do banish. So, yeah, very good for that. Fractal. It can also be sent to grave to send a bunch of other cards. If you watch my Scareclaw videos, I literally show people how it's done. So next, run 2 copies of Tri-brigade Kit. Tri-brigade Kit's very important because you can banish, again, the same exact effect. But if it's sent to the graveyard, you can send another Tri-brigade to graveyard. Which, the normal combo would be Fractal to send Kit. Once Kit's in the graveyard, its effect's going to activate, which is going to send Nerval to grave, and then you add Caress. So, that is normally how that goes. Normally. Now, sometimes it's a little unorthodox, I will be honest. Run 2 Tri-brigade Nerval. Again, this is very smart for you to do. Again, once this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Tri-brigade monster from deck to hand, and it has the same effect as all the other ones. So, yeah. Tri-brigade, all the Tri-brigade monsters have literally the exact same effect, a lot like the Scareclaw monsters. So, Nerval is very good, just like the rest of them. They all have to work. And then I run 1 Caress. You might be able to boost this up to 2, but for now I'm just running 1 because 2 is not really going to make a difference. So, just run 1 Caress. As long as I get Fractal or Fire Formation, I'm going to be able to get this to work. So, just 1 Caress there. Normally, I run more, but for the sake here recently, I've only been running 1, just 1 Ghost Spell. Because really, if you get the card, like, you're only going to be negating 1 activation, really. You're not really going to be doing a whole lot. There's not a lot of hand traps in this deck, to be honest. This deck is a FTK deck, and it went 2-2 against, see, it lost to Flandres, and it lost to, what was the other one? Eldridge. But it did beat Drytron and a Elemental Hero deck, so, I mean, it's still very powerful the way it is, and I love it the way it is. If I would have played it a little more open like I've got it right now, I probably would have won a lot more, because hand traps are starting to lead the meta, which are good for me. Next, run 3 Primitive Planet. Now, Primitive Planet, what it does is as soon as it's activated, you can add 1 Scareclaw monster or Vista Starfrost from deck to hand, so you can search Vista Starfrost, which just depends on what hand you have. If you've got a hand loaded full of Scareclaws, I do advise grabbing a Vista Starfrost or another Scareclaw that you don't already have in your hand. So, or if you do have every Scareclaw in hand, why don't you just grab another one, because it's literally just going to help you. So basically, when this card is activated, again, you have Scareclaw, Vista Starfrost, blah blah blah. They lose 100 attack and defense for each defense position monster on the field. Doesn't really matter. What it matters is this effect. If 3 or more defense position monsters are on the field, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. So that could be Mystic Mine. So keep that in mind. This thing does have removal, and it is a spell that does it. So yeah, this deck is not afraid of Mystic Mine. Next, run 3 Scareclaw Arrival. So Arrival is not once per turn. The banishing the card that keeps the Link monster on the field, which is a secondary effect. Actually, is the once per turn effect. The first effect of this card is not once per turn, which is target one Scareclaw if there's a Starfrost in your graveyard. Special summon it in defense position. If a Scareclaw Link monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use this effect of Scareclaw Arrival once per turn. If you have 3 arrivals and you have 3 cards engraved, you can go 1, 2, and 3 at the same time. So, yeah, keep that in mind. That Scareclaw is becoming a broken archetype right around the time where it needs to be, and I'm running the deck that will work with it. So next, 2 Tri-brigade Airborne Assault. When I seen this card, I knew I had to get it, specifically because you can target like any beast, beast warrior or wing beast, and special summon 1 beast warrior or wing beast monster from your deck in defense position with a different type with less or equal attack. So basically what I do is I use this and I can target my Tri-Heart, which is a dark attribute Link 3, and then he can special summon the other Scareclaw monsters because they are Earth types. So keep that in mind. The Airborne Assault will get it to work. If I had the choice, I'd probably run 3 of these, but I've got 2 for now. So I'll just run the 2 that I have, and we'll go from there. Next, I run the 2 fire formations I was just talking about. So the fire formation, Tinky, everybody knows this is to get fractal, and then you can combo off there. And all beast warrior monsters you control gain 100 attack, which also our little Link 4 is, or our Link 3 is a beast warrior, so he would gain 100. So it doesn't really matter, but that's just a little tidbit. So 2 fire formations. If it was legal to do 3, I'd have 3 in here, trust me. Next, I run 1 copy of Terraforming. With after Power of Elements, you will not have to use this card if you don't want to, because Leichhardt is literally going to add the field spell. So yeah, you don't need this card. So keep that in mind. 1 Terraforming. I run 1 Foolish Burial just in case if I need to get Kit there a little bit quicker, or if I don't have anything and I'm trying to get something set up, I'll send Kit, send Nerval, and I will add either probably Fractal if I'm just trying to get it set up, or if I'm feeling confident, I'll go Caress and start banishing stuff from hand. So 1 Foolish Burial, it's fine. And the last spell we run is Reinforcements of the Army. This is the speed duel version. I don't have the other version of it anymore. I don't know where it went, but I do have this version. It just adds a level 4 or lower warrior monster from deck to hand. That would be your Scareclaw Rockhart. So that's all I have for the spells. The rest I have here are traps. So let's get started with Scareclaw Scash. So with Splash here, once per turn you can target 1 Scareclaw monster or Vessel Starfrost you control. It can attack while in face-up defense position. If it does, apply its attack or defense, whichever is higher for damage calculation. When your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a Scareclaw monster in your extra monster zone, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard and negate that effect. So, Scareclaw Slash. Next, I'm using 2 Tri-brigade Revolt. Tri-brigade Revolt can special summon any Link monster in this deck except for the Scareclaw monsters. So with these, you special summon a number of your beast warrior, and or wing beasts that are banished or in your graveyard, but their effects are negated. Then immediately after this effect resolves, Link summon 1 Tri-brigade Link monster using only those monsters. You can activate 1 Tri-brigade Revolt per turn. So there's Revolt. Then the last 2 cards we run is 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence. So that's it. I just have 3 hand traps in this deck, and the rest basically just combos off. So and it keeps me alive. And Revolt will keep loading my board, keep going Ominous Omen, banishing shit. So it's very, very good. It does have some times where it doesn't work as good as it should, but I don't have the rest of the cards to actually make Scareclaws as good as they should be. But 2 infinite permanents to pair off with that. And that is it for the main deck. So there's that. Alright, we'll quickly go through the extra deck. So we do have some cards. So we're going to start off with 2 copies of Bear Brom. So this card, basically what I do is I don't use the first effect where it's like you can discard and then target your banished monsters, blah blah blah, whatever. No, that's not important. What is important is the other effect. When you link this off, you can add Revolt or Airborne Assault due to its effect, but you'll be locked in the Tri-brigade, so you wouldn't be able to get into any more Scareclaws. So keep that in mind when you use this card. So Bear Brom's very good for that, but it has to be sent to the graveyard in order for that to work as well. Next, I run 3 copies of Tri-brigade Baron Blossom. So basically what Baron Blossom does is during your main phase, I can supposed to summon 1 level 4 lower beast, beast warrior, or winged beast from my hand. I think it says also you cannot use monsters as link material for this turn except beast, beast warrior, and or winged beast. That does not apply to us because that's all we're using in this deck, so it doesn't bother us whatsoever. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can draw 1 card, then place 1 card on the bottom of the deck. That is the main effect we try to get off, because if we get card advantage, then we're going to win very, very quickly. And it doesn't take a whole lot to actually get that to work. You can decide what cards you plan on going into. Me, I know which ones I go into. So next, I run 3 copies of the Tri-brigade Silver Sheller. So what this guy does is during your opponent's main phase, you can supposed to summon 1 level 4 or lower beast, beast warrior, or winged beast monster from your hand or graveyard, but negates effects. Also is returned to the hand during the end phase. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can pick out monsters your opponent control, lose turns your attack for each monster type you control until the end of its turn. Not very important, but that is there for that. So this is more of just a big body if I get Revolt off and I'm just trying to add a big body to the board. I use Tri-brigade Silver Sheller for that. The next card that we do run is 3 copies of Scareclaw Tri-Heart. So I'm sure everybody has been wondering, like, what is my ratio on this? It is 3. Strictly because it is very important. This card, they always try to pop it and get it off the field because it's just a pain in the ass. So basically what it does is it must be link summoned, all face up monsters your opponent or on the field or change defense position. So mine and yours, unaffected by the effects of defense position monsters. Once per turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, you can target 1 level 3 Scareclaw monster in your graveyard, special summon it, not including Rockhart because he's level 4. And then if you do, you can add 1 Scareclaw monster from deck to hand. That could be Rockhart. So also, you cannot supposed to summon monsters for this turn, except Scareclaw monsters when you activate that effect. So keep that in mind. And this is a big link 3 with 3000 attack, and it does get pretty bulky. So keep that in mind. Next, run 1 copy of Boral Sword Dragon. So Boral Sword is one that can be link summoned off of Revolt. You just need 3 effect monsters to do it, so it's not that hard to do. And Boral Sword is one that keeps you in the game. Good link 4, so keep that in mind. Boral Sword Dragon. I'm just going to lay him over there. And then the last card that we do use in this deck is 3 copies of Tri-brigade Ominous Omen. So Ominous Omen is my card where, you know, I use other cards in my deck in order, including, let's see, Tri-brigade Airborne Assault here. It's one of the cards that I do use quite frequently. I use this card in order to get his effect off properly. So if you use this as like a quick play, activate it, send one or get one on while this card is still on, you're going to be able to banish a card. So it's kind of stupid. When I found that little combo out, I knew that I had to learn it. I should have actually bought 3 of those assaults, to be honest, because it's very good. So even when this card is link summoned, it'll still banish the card, which is nice. And then if it's sent to graveyard, you can add a Scareclaw monster directly to hand, which is big. Or Tri-brigade, whichever one you're deciding to go for. Depends on what the game state is for me. So that's all for the deck for me. That is the Scareclaw Tri-brigades. I won't go over the side deck because it's a little bit different. Not a lot, but it's a little bit different. So I added some major cards because I noticed I was pulling my side deck cards, but I wasn't, getting them, and they wasn't doing enough. So first of all, I'm going to start off with 3 copies of Prohibition. So 3 copies of Prohibition. This card is one of the best cards you can play in the deck. If you face Fauna Albaz, call Fauna Albaz, and they will no longer be able to get into any of their big plays. They'll have to rely on Masquerade Dragon, which sucks for them. So, because they can no longer play Fauna Albaz, you lock them out there. If you're playing Eldritch, call Eldritch. Anything of that sort, you can basically just lock out the game with Prohibition. So, keep that in mind. Prohibition is a great card. Next, run 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Like I said, most of it's pretty much still the same. So, just run 3 copies. You can get rid of Mystic Mime. Like I said, this deck really doesn't have to deal with it a whole lot, but sometimes it's just nice to have the extra removal just in case. Next, run 3 copies of Mask of Restrict for Flan. We do have a lot of cards in here for Flan. And then these are used in every single deck. So, next, I ran 3 copies of Imperial Iron Wall. This is not good to use in my deck, as that's where I messed up in one of my games when I faced Eldritch. Is I used this when I had Kit in hand and I completely locked myself out. So keep that in mind. This is not the deck card to use in this deck, but it is used for my other decks. So I might end up siding this out for like something else. I don't know yet. So Imperial Iron Wall. And the last story I run is for Eldritch specifically, and that is the Royal Decree. So Royal Decree, you can shut out your opponent when you're playing Eldritch because they have to rely on traps. And if you have this, you don't have to worry about traps because they'll all be negated. So with that being said, that is all I have for this video. There we go. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm Pierce Nation, and I will see you guys in the next video. Pierce Nation out.